here on the program just for us to wind down and end the show. Now, for the football update, I was talking about countries that has made it through the World Cup, and of course, the games coming up for Nigeria in the World Cup as well. And Nigeria qualified to the back door, and they'll be playing in the World Cup playoffs. And of course, when Nigeria wins that game, it's likely that Nigeria will play only in the final of the intercontinental pairings. If Nigeria ranks higher than every other team, they will be playing just one game, which might just be the final in that one. So Nigeria should just buckle up and of course face who they're supposed to face: Gabon, Cameroon, DR Congo. All right, so they should be ready to face these teams one after another and try and triumph. Of course, I think this is the time they need to show that they are really very, very ready to participate in the World Cup after starting up and then not finishing well in the group stage qualifiers. Now, let's also talk about Bafana of South Africa. They also qualified, ending a 16-year absence on October 14th, 2025, a 3-0 win over Rwanda on the final day of Group C qualifying. Took the South Africans past Benin and ensured they finished ahead of Nigeria to secure a guaranteed berth in the World Cup. Now there's this controversy. A lot of Nigerians are talking about it, about South Africa playing politics when it came to the qualifiers. When it came to Nigeria, with Nigeria and South Africa, they took Nigeria to a farmer's pitch. If you look at the pitch where Nigeria played the game against them, they took us to a pitch where that pitch was very, very terrible. It was bad, and that's them trying to play politics. And we Nigerians, I don't know what happened with NFF. I don't know the kind of NFF people or people inside the NFF that don't know how to play politics of the game. And you saw South Africa begin the qualifiers. Most of the teams that came, or they're in the group stages with Nigeria, most of them were South Africans. Lesotho, Zimbabwe, South Africa, almost 4 teams from the same continent. From the same region. That's South Africa. Lesotho is in South Africa. Zimbabwe is in South Africa. And even Rwanda. I'm not saying Rwanda is in South Africa, but I'm just saying that these teams are close, or they are almost in the same region. And the politics of the game. So most of those games where Zimbabwe and South Africa played, they had to play it in South Africa. So it's like a home inside their home. Do you understand? So this is one of those conversations that NFF are supposed to have taken to FIFA. That, okay, this is what has been happening, and then you prevent it from happening again. So why didn't they petition South Africa from playing that game in Polokwane? No, not Polokwane. I think in Bloemfontein. They played that game in Bloemfontein. That stadium was so terrible. And I'm pretty sure they intentionally took Nigeria to that venue just to play, because they know if we play in a standard pitch, they don't stand a chance. They do not stand a chance. And they will never stand a chance against Nigeria, because they can never defeat Nigeria, no matter how they want to try it. All right, but kudos to them. They qualified ahead of Nigeria. Kudos to their politics. Kudos to whatever politics they threw. And then they qualified. Just 1 point ahead of Nigeria. As when Nigeria had taken their chance against Zimbabwe in Uyo, they had won that game. Just one game. Oh my God, this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about we being in the World Cup rather than South Africa. All right. So that's pretty much that for South Africa. And of course, let's also talk about England. England booked their place at an 8th successive World Cup after Thomas Tuchel's side eased through the UEFA preliminaries and qualified with 2 games to spare. A 5-0 victory over Latvia in Riga on October 14th sealed their return to the global finals, which will be their first on American soil after missing out on USA 94. The Lions of Teranga, that's Senegal, are qualified for the showpiece after securing first place in Group B of the African preliminaries after a 4-0 victory over Mauritania in their final fixture on October 14 as well. Ensured they topped the section ahead of Congo DR It will be their fourth World Cup appearance, and that's incredible coming from Senegal. If you remember Senegal very well in the 2002 World Cup, where they qualified for the quarterfinals, and they were part of the team or the country that ousted the defending champion of the World Cup then in 2002, France. If you remember, I think I was still a kid then, still following football then. And in 2002, ladies and gentlemen, man, my studio manager is throwing vibe, yeah. Yeah, 2002, I remember vividly. I don't forget things, actually. I have a very good retentive memory. So I remember that game where Alaji Diouf, Titi Kamara, Silva, their goalkeeper, who again, that Mark Vivian Foy, that guy who died, a lot, Omar Daf. We have plenty of those Senegalese players then, and we also have their former coach, Cisse. Yes, Cisse is his name. And man, those Africans played football there. I mean, Senegalese rather, not South Africans. Those Senegalese played football then, and of course, they are in their fourth consecutive World Cup that will be played next year. Kudos to them. They are the best African side, but I've not seen them if they should play against Nigeria or Morocco. I'm waiting to see who those teams is going to win between three of them. But Senegal are a good side. They deserve the qualification to the World Cup. All right, from South Africa, let's also talk about Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire, the Elephants secured their place at the World Cup on October 14. We also saw their game rare when they played with a 3-0 victory over Kenya in their final Group F fixture, ensuring they topped the section ahead of Gabon. Cote d'Ivoire will return to the global finals for the first time since 2014. Don't forget, Cote d'Ivoire are the current AFCON champions, of course, where they defeated Nigeria in that final by 2-1. And ladies and gentlemen, Cote d'Ivoire qualified, and man, it's sad to see that Nigeria is not part of the team that has been mentioned that has qualified, because we missed out in the last edition of the World Cup in Asia that was held in Qatar 2022, and that was painful. Ghana stole it from us, and now we are doing all our best possible to do what, to qualify through the back door at the playoffs. Would that be possible? Now time will tell about that come November. All right, the Carthage Eagles booked their place at the global showpiece with 2 games to spare in Group H, with a dramatic last gaps win away to Equatorial Guinea in Malabo, with their defense having not been breached in their first 8 CAF qualifying matches. Tunisia doing wonders and working wonders there in the qualifiers. Also talk about Colombia. Now, Colombia, after missing out of Qatar 2022, Colombia are back in the World Cup with talisman James Rodriguez leading his side to a 3-0 triumph over Bolivia on the 4th of September. Who is saying this Bolivian team is a hard nut to crack? If a team like Colombia can defeat them 3-0, why not Nigeria? So let's just take that into consideration, that no team there is not beatable. All right, and so that is that, and I still have more teams that I'm going to review on how they qualified. I've talked about Uzbekistan, I've talked about Argentina, and now let's talk about Korea Republic. Korea Republic reached their 11th consecutive World Cup following a convincing 2-0 victory against 10-man Iraq at Basra International Stadium on June 5. And Jordan qualified for their first World Cup on June 5 after they defeated Oman 3-0 in Muscat, and Iraq lost to Korea Republic. All right, Australia as well booked their 6th successive World Cup on June 10 following a comeback 2 win against Saudi Arabia and Jeddah. It was the first time the nation secured direction qualification, directly to the qualification since 2014 campaign. They've always been qualifying through the playoffs. I think that's what they've been doing, and then it's good to see that they qualified for that. And of course, Algeria, the Desert Foxes, booked their World Cup return for the first time since 2014 after a 3-0 victory away to Somalia in their penultimate Group G's clash. Riyad Mahrez and co won 7 and drew one of their first 9 qualifiers to ensure they could not be caught in the group. What an interesting one there. What an interesting one there for them. And congratulations to them as well for qualifying for the World Cup. Alright, so let's go on another quick break and let me catch my breath. When I come back, of course, the show would continue. And this time around, let me be playing this song, Lil Duck, and it calls that one All My Life. We'll be right back.